Hello, hello. Okay, so we are going to warp our loom. So as you can see, I have an example right here on the Jewel Loom. You could definitely use your small Wisdom Warrior loom if you have that particular loom. You could also use your small Goddess um, loom as well with whatever pattern you might happen to have, whether it's the Sun Goddess or the Flower Goddess. And so I'm standing for this, and you can certainly be sitting, as you well know. But here's the Jewel Loom, and I've already adjusted my rod. And what I'm going to do next is go ahead and insert that into the Jewel Loom. And of course, you know I use my belly. That's why I'm standing. And I'm just going to snap that in. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it over. And so this part of the loom is closest to my body. And up here, let's see, up here, it is furthest away from my body. Okay. And just a disclaimer, in this moment, I have still not made it to the fingernail place. We're busy. We're busy these days, right? It's like, gosh, can we just get somebody here? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tie my hemp. And by the way, the hemp is 1 millimeter, so that's definitely going to be thicker than a 0.5. And so I like working with it. I quite enjoy the 1 millimeter, and so for this project, that is what we're going to be working with. Just another little disclaimer: I do have the overhead with the Logitech, and I do see that it's trying to periodically adjust itself. So I'll try to dance with the Logitech camera and hopefully stay in focus here. So I just make, did you see that? I just make like a little loop, and it just makes it easier for me to put it around that back button. I do that with all of my beading threads, by the way, whether I'm using Wildfire or Hemp. I've always just found that it makes it easier. One of the things I would, just a little caution, make sure you're not wrapping it around the rod, because that'll be a big warp faux pas in the end if you do that. So always make sure you're just wrapping around the button. And in fact, I'm just going to bring this up to the camera so you can see it's just wrapped around the button. And I'm going to go ahead and lay that back down, and I'm going to do 2 knots here. Okay, and I'm pulling quite tight. And I just want to make sure that that knot, okay, is facing closest to me. What we have found in the past is that, say for instance, your knot was all the way over there, and then you start warping, right? Well, all it takes is just that little bit of lack to make that first warp kind of wonky, right? So like if I got over here and that were the case, this would be drooping. So I always try to get the knot as closest to my body facing that direction so that there's no lack in the tension. So now what I'm going to do is, you see how I get ready to, like, chomp on my loom, right? So I'm going to grab it, and I've got my thumb underneath, and I have this hand holding the warp, and I flip it, and I pull on it again just to make sure there's no loose tension, and I just let that hemp lay in one of the grooves. And then I do my best to line it up. Now I love has a little trick where she actually put little dash marks so that she could line it up. I think if you're one groove off, you're not, it's not a deal breaker, but I love that idea. So that's really fun. I'll have to do that to one of my looms. And then again, I'm holding the loom. You see, I always kind of have it like in this, like a little hamburger, I'm holding it. And then I'm going to flip it over and come back around that back button. And because we're working with the square tile beads, we're going to be skipping 4 grooves. And I'm just going to come over here and count. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've kind of gotten to the point where I can eyeball it. You know, I know that it's 4. And I'm going to flip it over again. And I'm going to wrap it around that back loop, or that back button. Flip it over again. And let me just do a giggle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are going 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 beads across, so we'll need 6 warps. So there's my third. Okay, and coming back up. And so basically, I'm just going back and forth, right? Wrapping it around. And it starts to get a little tight in there because this, you know, this is very thick. You certainly could use a 0.5 if you wanted to. It's just that it'll be not so stiff, I guess, would be, you know, when you take your cuff off of the loom. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? We're doing 5 beads across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, silly me. All right, awesome. So we're done. And then I'm just going to come over here. Here's the great thing about the hemp, right? It's so thick that it just locks itself in here. So it's kind of impossible to lose your, I say that and then it's not going to do what it always does, to lose the tension. It's like, oh yeah, I'll show you. So then what we want to do is we just want to tie off, right? So we're going to get the bottom here. By the way, I have found that this hemp acts oddly enough like the wire when the wire is all kind of wrinkled or crinkled. I've noticed that if I rub it in between my fingers, it gets nice and you know, those. Oh boy, did I just lose my tension there? Come on now. All right, hold on. Rescue, rescue. Come back over here. I don't think I did. I think it's an illusion, but I can't take a chance. Okay, so we're going to tie these 2 ends together. Yeah, it's a lot of, there's a lot of cord here. Okay, okay, there we go. Holy guacamole. Okay. And one more for giggles. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim that so it's not in my way, driving me crazy. And then I'll flip it over. And what you want to do again, you know, we have these beautiful bellies, and I'm gonna take my pointer, right, and I'm gonna lay that across the top, and then very carefully pop that out. Now remember that little trick. If this didn't want to come out, what would I do, right? I would turn it around and see if it would come out a little bit, you know, easier that way, because the tension shifts. So now we have our loom all ready to go. And so in the next video, we'll talk about placing, you know, making like a little sketch of what beads we want to use. And it's like we're creating our own little pattern. The cool thing about Spanish tiles is that they're just random. I mean, one of my most favorite walls are where there's just a bazillion different tiles and nothing makes real sense, but it's just extremely beautiful. So, okay, so go ahead and get your looms warped. And if you have any questions, as usual, let me know. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.